What if everything you've ever been taught about creating wealth was completely backwards? Here's a question that might shake everything you thought you knew about money. What if the chair you're sitting on right now, the phone in your hand, even the walls surrounding you at this very moment, all began as nothing more than a fleeting thought in someone's mind? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating, seeing who's joining us from around the world. Has this ever happened to you? You've worked incredibly hard, followed every financial strategy, applied every technique the experts recommended, yet somehow the money you desperately need continues to slip through your fingers like water? The truth that Florance Scovel Shinn discovered decades ago, and what modern science is only beginning to understand, is that consciousness isn't just awareness. It's the very fabric from which your entire financial reality is woven. Every dollar that has ever existed, every fortune that has ever been built, every opportunity that has ever materialized, began not in the physical world, but in the invisible realm of imagination and thought. Think about this for a moment. The smartphone you're watching this video on was once just a wild idea in someone's mind. The building you're in was first constructed in an architect's imagination before a single brick was laid. Even the money sitting in your bank account right now, or perhaps the money you wish was there, follows this exact same principle. What you're about to discover might surprise you, but it will fundamentally change how you approach wealth creation forever. You see, most people are trying to manifest money from the outside in. They're pushing, forcing, strategizing, and exhausting themselves trying to manipulate external circumstances to bring them financial abundance. But consciousness, as the only reality, means that your inner world of thoughts, feelings, and imagination doesn't just influence your external world, it literally creates it. This isn't some mystical concept or wishful thinking. This is the precise mechanism by which every single thing you can touch, see, or experience came into existence. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what I'm about to share with you will flip your entire understanding of money manifestation upside down. When you truly grasp that everything starts as imagination, when you realize that your financial reality is being broadcast from your consciousness every single moment, you'll understand why all your previous efforts may have been focused in completely the wrong direction. The wealthy understand this secret intuitively. They don't just think about money differently. They exist in a completely different reality where abundance isn't something they chase, but something they embody from within. And once you see how this works, once you understand the true relationship between your inner world and your bank account, you'll never approach money the same way again. But here's where it gets really interesting, and where most people completely miss the mark. I'd love for you to subscribe, because what we're exploring here goes far deeper than surface-level content. This is a space where real transformation happens, where we dive into the truths that actually change lives rather than just sound good for a moment. Here's the hidden truth that the financial world doesn't want you to discover. You already possess the exact same creative power that brought entire galaxies into existence. This isn't some feel-good metaphor designed to make you feel better about your current situation. When ancient texts spoke of being made in our image, they were revealing the most profound secret about human consciousness and its relationship to material reality. Most people approach money manifestation like they're begging the universe for scraps, as if they're somehow separate from the very force that creates abundance. But this perspective keeps you trapped in a cycle of effort without results, struggle without transformation. The real revelation comes when you understand that you don't need to earn your way into wealth. You need to assume your way into it. Florance Scovel Shinn discovered something revolutionary about how the mind interacts with financial reality. She found that the people who consistently attracted money weren't the ones working hardest or following the most complex strategies. They were the ones who had mastered the art of assumption. They didn't hope for money, wish for opportunities, or chase after success. They simply assumed these things were already theirs, and then lived from that assumption until reality had no choice but to catch up. This is where most people's mindset gets completely derailed. They've been conditioned to believe that everything valuable must be struggled for, fought over, and earned, through blood, sweat, and tears. But assumption operates on an entirely different frequency. When you assume you already have something, when you feel it in your bones and live from that knowing, you're not manipulating external circumstances. You're aligning with the natural flow of creation itself. Think about the most successful people you know. Behind the scenes, they don't approach opportunities with desperation or uncertainty. They move through the world with a quiet confidence that opportunities belong to them. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. They've learned to assume success before it appears, to feel wealthy before the bank account reflects it, to embody abundance before the world validates it. The impact of this shift in understanding cannot be overstated. When you stop trying to force money into your life through sheer effort and start assuming it into your experience through conscious choice, everything changes. Your decisions become different. Your energy, it transforms. The very way you walk through the world begins to broadcast a signal that attracts what you've assumed to be true. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because there's a specific technique that Florance, Scovel, Shinn used to help people make this transition from effort to assumption. And it's so simple that most people dismiss it entirely. Yet those who apply it correctly often see dramatic shifts in their financial reality within days. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to assume," if this is resonating with you so far. The technique itself is deceptively simple. Yet it's been responsible for more financial transformations than any complex manifestation ritual you'll ever encounter. It's a single phrase, spoken with genuine conviction, that instantly shifts your entire relationship with money. I already have it. Most people hear those 4 words and immediately dismiss them as positive thinking nonsense. But there's something happening behind the scenes when you speak this phrase with real feeling that goes far beyond surface-level affirmations. You're making a conscious choice to align with a reality where your desire already exists, where the money you want is already flowing to you, where the opportunities you need are already seeking you out. The revelation here is understanding the difference between wishful thinking and conscious claiming. When you wishfully think about money, you're operating from lack, hoping that somehow the universe will take pity on your situation and throw you a financial bone. But when you claim, "I already have it," and let that knowing settle deep into your chest, you're operating from a completely different vibrational frequency. Present tense claiming works because your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between what's happening in your imagination and what's happening in your physical reality. When you consistently speak and feel as if your financial desires are already fulfilled, your entire internal system begins to reorganize itself around this new truth. Your decisions shift, your confidence transforms, and most importantly, your energy starts broadcasting the signal of someone who already possesses what they want. This isn't about fooling yourself or living in denial about your current bank balance. It's about recognizing that your current financial situation is simply a reflection of your past consciousness, not a permanent sentence about your future possibilities. Every moment you spend feeling and declaring, "I already have it," you're writing new code into your subconscious programming. The journey from financial struggle to abundance always begins with this internal shift. Those who master this technique understand that wealth is an inside job first and an outside manifestation second. They've learned to feel wealthy before their circumstances reflect it, to embody abundance before their bank account validates it, to live from their desired reality before the world catches up. But here's where most people derail their own transformation. They speak the words without allowing the feeling to penetrate their being. They say, "I already have it," while their chest remains tight with anxiety, their breathing stays shallow with worry, and their entire body language screams the opposite message. The real power emerges when you let this declaration become a living reality within your consciousness. Now, the question becomes, how do you move from simply speaking these words to actually embodying them so deeply that your entire energy field transforms? And this is where we discover the most crucial element that determines whether this technique creates lasting change or becomes just another empty affirmation. Write "already mine" in the comments if you're feeling this shift happening inside you right now. the crucial element that separates those who transform their financial reality from those who remain stuck in endless cycles of hope and disappointment, comes down to understanding the profound difference between choosing and wishing. This distinction might seem subtle, but it's the hidden factor that determines whether you become magnetically attractive to wealth or continue repelling it without even realizing what's happening. When you wish for money, you're unconsciously broadcasting a signal of lack to the universe. Wishing implies that what you want is somewhere else, possessed by someone else, available to everyone except you. It's an energy of separation, of longing, of waiting for external circumstances to somehow shift in your favor. This mindset keeps you in a perpetual state of wanting, and the universe responds by giving you more experiences of wanting. But when you choose your financial reality, everything shifts. Choosing implies ownership, presence, and immediate availability. It's a decision that comes from your core, a declaration that what you desire already belongs to you. This isn't about positive thinking or trying to convince yourself of something that feels untrue. It's about recognizing that in the realm of consciousness, where all possibilities exist simultaneously, your wealth is already there, waiting for you to claim it. The transformation happens when you stop leaking energy through wishful thinking and start consolidating your power through conscious choice. Every moment you spend wishing, hoping, or waiting, you're essentially telling the universe that you don't yet possess what you want. But the moment you choose, you step into a completely different relationship with abundance. Leading from the end result means you stop reacting to your current bank balance, your current bills, or your current circumstances as if they're permanent fixtures in your reality. Instead, you respond to everything from the feeling of already having achieved your financial goals. This is what it means to live from your future self rather than being trapped by your current limitations. Your future self, the version of you who already has the money you want, doesn't wake up worried about bills. They don't check their bank account with anxiety. They don't make decisions from scarcity or fear. They move through the world with quiet confidence, making choices that align with abundance because abundance is their natural state of being. The revelation here is that you can access this future version of yourself right now, not by pretending or forcing, but by simply choosing to respond to life from that elevated perspective. When unexpected expenses arise, instead of panicking, you respond with the calm assurance of someone who knows money flows easily to them. When opportunities appear, you don't hesitate or second-guess yourself because you're operating from the mindset of someone who deserves and expects good things. Now, this shift from reacting to responding creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond your bank account. And understanding how this ripple works will show you exactly why. Some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth, while others struggle despite their best efforts. Drop "I choose wealth" in the comments if you're ready to make this shift from wishing to choosing. This ripple effect I mentioned creates a fascinating phenomenon that most people completely sabotage without realizing it. The moment you start questioning whether your manifestation techniques are working, the moment you catch yourself asking, "Did it work? Where's my money? Why isn't anything changing?" You've just pulled yourself right back into the old state of lack that you were trying to escape. It's like planting a seed and then digging it up every day to check if it's growing. The very act of checking comes from doubt, and doubt is the frequency of not having. When you question the process, you're essentially telling the universe that you don't trust what you've set in motion, that you're still operating from the mindset of someone who doesn't have what they want. The people who consistently attract wealth understand this hidden truth. They become the confirmation rather than seeking confirmation from external sources. They don't need their bank account to validate their new state of consciousness because they've already validated it within themselves. Their confidence doesn't depend on seeing immediate results because they know that the inner shift has already occurred, and external changes are simply a matter of time. This is where embodying your new identity becomes absolutely crucial. Your posture, your tone of voice, the way you make decisions throughout your day, everything must begin to reflect the version of you who already possesses the wealth you desire. But here's what most people misunderstand. This isn't about acting or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about remembering who you truly are at your core, beneath all the conditioning and limitations you've accepted about money. Subscribe if you want to continue this journey together, because the conversations we're having here aren't happening everywhere. You've found a place where consciousness work meets practical results, and I want to make sure you don't miss what's coming next. The version of you who already has financial abundance doesn't walk with hunched shoulders or speak with uncertainty. They don't make decisions from fear or scarcity. They don't apologize for taking up space or asking for what they're worth. This isn't arrogance. It's alignment. It's the natural expression of someone who knows their value and expects good things to flow into their life. Your transformation happens in these subtle shifts behind the scenes. The way you answer your phone changes. The way you enter a room transforms. The energy you bring to conversations evolves. People start responding to you differently, not because you're trying to impress them, but because you're no longer trying to hide from your own power. The impact of this identity shift extends into every decision you make. When opportunities arise, you don't hesitate or second-guess yourself because you're operating from the assumption that good things naturally come to you. When challenges appear, you don't panic because you're responding from the perspective of someone who knows they can handle whatever life presents. Now, there's a specific moment in this journey where most people either break through to lasting wealth or fall back into their old patterns. And recognizing this critical point will determine whether your financial transformation becomes permanent or just another temporary high. Type, "I am wealthy," in the comments if you can feel this new identity starting to emerge within you. This critical point arrives when you make the most profound shift in human consciousness, moving from needing to having. This isn't just a mental exercise or a clever mindset trick. It's a fundamental transformation in how you relate to abundance itself. When you truly no longer need something, when that desperate grasping energy dissolves completely, you create the exact energetic space that allows wealth to flow into your life naturally. Think about how this works in your current reality. The things you desperately need often seem to elude you, while the things you're relaxed about tend to show up effortlessly. This isn't coincidence. It's the universe responding to your energetic signature. Needing creates resistance, while having creates flow. The moment you stop broadcasting the frequency of lack, abundance has no choice but to respond. The beautiful revelation here is that once you've made this internal shift from needing to having, you don't need to spend your entire day repeating affirmations or convincing yourself that you're wealthy. That kind of forced repetition actually comes from the very needing energy you're trying to transcend. When you truly know something, when it becomes part of your core identity, you embody it effortlessly. Consider how you don't need to remind yourself all day that you're breathing, or that your heart is beating, or that you deserve to take up space in the world. These things are so deeply integrated into your being that they happen automatically. The same principle applies to wealth consciousness. Once you genuinely know that abundance is your natural state, once you've shifted from the frequency of needing to the frequency of having, you simply walk in that confidence without question. This is where the real transformation becomes visible to others. You're no longer trying to prove your worth or convince anyone, including yourself, that you deserve prosperity. There's a quiet assurance in your voice, a natural ease in your movements, a peaceful expectation that good things flow to you, because that's simply how your world works now. The journey from doubt to certainty isn't about building up evidence from the outside world. It's about dissolving the internal resistance that was blocking your natural connection to abundance. You stop doubting your worthiness, not because someone finally validated you, but because you remembered something that was always true about who you are beneath all the conditioning. Your decisions begin flowing from this new foundation of knowing rather than the old foundation of hoping. You don't hesitate when opportunities present themselves because hesitation comes from uncertainty, and you're no longer uncertain about your relationship with money. You don't second-guess your value because you're no longer seeking external confirmation of something you've already confirmed within yourself. Now, there's something that happens in the external world when you reach this level of internal certainty, and understanding this phenomenon will help you recognize when your consciousness shift is beginning to create real, tangible changes in your financial reality. Write, "I know I'm worthy" in the comments if you can feel this shift from needing to knowing happening inside you right now. This phenomenon I'm referring to is what separates those who experience lasting financial transformation from those who give up just moments before their breakthrough. When you've genuinely shifted your consciousness from needing to knowing, when that internal certainty has taken root, there's often a period where nothing appears to change on the surface. Your bank account looks the same, your circumstances seem unchanged, and this is precisely where most people panic and restart the entire process. But here's what's happening behind the scenes during this crucial period. You've shifted something far deeper than surface appearances. Your entire vibrational frequency has transformed, and the physical world needs time to catch up to your new energetic signature. Think of it like changing the temperature on a thermostat. You adjust the setting, but it takes time for the entire room to reflect that new temperature. The change is inevitable, but it's not instantaneous. The people who consistently manifest wealth understand this universal timing and refuse to panic during the adjustment period. They've learned to trust the process because they can feel the internal shift has already occurred. They're not waiting for external validation to confirm their new state of consciousness because they're too busy living from it. When you maintain your new state consistently, when you refuse to drop back into the old frequency of doubt and lack, external changes must follow. This isn't hope or wishful thinking. It's spiritual law. The call comes from an unexpected source. The opportunity appears that you never could have planned. The numbers in your account begin to change in ways that feel obvious rather than surprising. The transformation happens so naturally that by the time money starts flowing into your life, it doesn't feel like a miracle. It feels like a natural consequence of who you've become. The desperate energy that once surrounded your relationship with money has dissolved, replaced by a quiet expectation that abundance seeks you out because you're no longer pushing it away with resistance. Your decision-making process transforms completely during this period. Instead of making choices from fear or scarcity, you start making decisions that align with your new identity as someone who naturally attracts wealth. You don't hesitate to invest in yourself or your future because you're operating from abundance consciousness rather than survival mode. The impact of this shift ripples through every area of your life. People respond to you differently because you're no longer carrying the energy of someone who's struggling financially. Opportunities that were always there but invisible to your previous mindset suddenly become obvious. Your entire world begins to reorganize itself around your new level of expectation. Now, there's a specific moment when you know beyond any doubt that your consciousness shift has become permanent, and recognizing this moment will give you unshakable confidence that your financial transformation is not just temporary, but has become your new, normal way of being. Write "it's working" in the comments if you're starting to feel this inevitable shift happening in your own life. This specific moment when you know your transformation has become permanent reveals itself through a profound shift in how you carry yourself through the world. True power doesn't announce itself with loud declarations or desperate affirmations shouted into the void. Real wealth consciousness operates through quiet, unwavering expectation. Your energy begins speaking louder than any words you could ever say because you're no longer trying to convince anyone, including yourself, of something that has become as natural as breathing. You'll notice this transformation first in the small moments. When someone asks about your financial situation, there's no defensive energy in your response. When opportunities arise, you don't grab at them with desperation, but evaluate them with the discernment of someone who knows more opportunities are always coming. When unexpected expenses appear, you handle them with the calm assurance of someone who trusts their ability to generate money. The revelation here is that you've stopped performing wealth and started embodying it. There's no longer a gap between who you are in private and how you show up in the world because the internal shift has become so complete that authenticity is effortless. You're not trying to project confidence. You simply are confident because you're operating from a foundation of knowing rather than hoping. Training yourself to respond to your inner truth rather than outer delays becomes the cornerstone of maintaining this transformation. The version of you who already has the money you want isn't sitting around questioning whether it's working or when it's going to happen. They're busy building, creating, and opening doors because that's what people with abundant mindsets naturally do. Your decision-making process undergoes a complete revolution during this phase. Instead of waiting for external circumstances to give you permission to act abundantly, you start making choices that align with your wealthy identity regardless of what your current bank balance looks like. You invest in yourself, you pursue opportunities, you speak up for your worth because these behaviors flow naturally from your new state of consciousness. The impact of responding to inner knowing rather than outer appearances creates a feedback loop that accelerates your manifestation. Every time you choose to trust your internal guidance over external evidence, you strengthen your connection to abundance consciousness. Every time you act from knowing rather than needing, you send a clear signal to the universe about who you've become. People around you begin to notice something has fundamentally changed, though they might not be able to articulate exactly what it is. There's a presence about you now, a quiet authority that wasn't there before. You're no longer seeking validation or approval because you've found your center within yourself. Now, this transformation creates a fascinating phenomenon where the very act of no longer needing external proof becomes the catalyst that brings undeniable proof into your physical reality. And understanding this paradox will show you exactly why your breakthrough is closer than you might imagine. Put "I trust my knowing" in the comments if you're feeling this shift from seeking external validation to trusting your inner guidance. This paradox I mentioned reveals itself in the most unexpected way. The moment you stop desperately seeking external proof of your transformation is precisely when that proof becomes inevitable. When your financial results feel quiet, when there's a sense of stillness around your money situation, most people interpret this as failure or stagnation. But what's actually happening behind the scenes is that you've successfully left the vibration of seeking and entered the signal of completion. The seeking energy is frantic, desperate, constantly scanning the environment for signs of progress. But the completion energy is calm, assured, quietly expectant. When you're no longer vibrating at the frequency of "I need this to happen," you've created the perfect energetic space for abundance to manifest naturally. This is the moment where your reality truly begins to catch up to your transformed consciousness. Your breakthrough is closer than you imagine because you've stopped pushing against it with the resistance that seeking energy creates. The universe responds to completion consciousness completely differently than it responds to needing consciousness. When you're seeking, you're broadcasting lack. When you're complete, you're broadcasting abundance. The shift is subtle, but the impact is revolutionary. Now comes the most crucial phase of your entire transformation journey, staying in this new version of yourself regardless of what external circumstances try to tell you. This is where most people sabotage their progress without realizing it. The old identity, sensing that it's about to be permanently displaced, will make one final attempt to call you back to the familiar territory of limitation and struggle. You'll hear that old voice whispering doubts. Maybe this isn't working. Maybe you should go back to the old way of doing things. Maybe you're just fooling yourself. This isn't your intuition speaking. This is the dying breath of a consciousness pattern that no longer serves you. Your only job during this critical phase is to not answer that call. The transformation becomes permanent when you develop the emotional maturity to stay loyal to your new identity even when the external world hasn't caught up yet. This requires a level of faith in yourself that most people never develop because they abandon the process the moment they don't see immediate external validation. But you're different. You understand that every moment you spend in the new version of yourself, every decision you make from abundance consciousness, every time you choose knowing over doubting, you're strengthening the neural pathways that make this transformation irreversible. Your brain is literally rewiring itself to match your new financial identity. The impact of this unwavering commitment to your evolved self creates a momentum that becomes unstoppable. Each day, you refuse to drop back into the old patterns. Each moment you choose to respond from wealth consciousness rather than scarcity consciousness, you're building an internal foundation so solid that external circumstances have no choice but to rearrange themselves to match it. Now, there's a specific technique that Florance Scovel Shinn discovered for maintaining this new identity,